Nearly 166.1 million, that's the number of Americans who, in 2024, are living paycheck to paycheck. And more than half of Americans with an income of $100,000 a year or more say they can't handle an emergency expense of $1,000.
Almost half of all Americans cannot pay an unexpected $1,000 expense from their savings account.
Likewise, 67% of American workers claim to have received a pay raise in the last 5 years, which means their incomes have increased. However, they say they can't save or invest those incomes due to the cost of living.
People all across the country working in jobs once considered middle class, but now living far below a middle class lifestyle.
This is due to inflation, but also to poor financial habits. As a survey conducted in 2023 by the University of Chicago discovered that about 30% of the average American worker's salary is used to pay for unnecessary expenses. So, why can't so many Americans keep their salary, and what can you do about it? Unlike past trends, the year 2023 showed that consumers in the United States spent at record levels. Even in a context of high interest rates, scarce savings, and overwhelming inflation, Americans are spending wildly. On Black Friday, in-store sales increased by 1.1% compared to the year 2022, and online purchases alone reached a record figure of $9.8 billion in transactions in a single day.
As inflation remains, it would seem practical for people to want to spend less money and try to save their money, but that doesn't appear to be the case. According to a piece in the Wall Street Journal, Americans are still spending like there's no tomorrow, splurging on expensive items and experiences.
This splurge follows the pattern of consumer spending that has kept the country's economy afloat over the last year, representing almost 4.9% of the real GDP in the fourth quarter of 2023. According to specialists, this may be the result of a behavioral phenomenon called lifestyle creep, which occurs because when people start to earn more, they also begin to spend more, as about 67% of American workers claim to have received a salary increase in the last 5 years. Likewise, many of the unnecessary expenses that Americans incur are through borrowing or credit cards. Just in 2024, about 46% of Americans claim to have an overdue balance on credit cards, and this figure is on the rise.
The holiday season is a time of gift giving and lots of merriment, but also a time when a lot of us get into some serious credit card trouble. In fact, about 1/3 of Americans will go into debt for their holiday shopping, and 1/4 of Americans are actually still paying off holiday debt from last year. Altogether, Americans are saddled with more than $1 trillion in credit card debt.
According to a creditcards.com survey, 10% of Americans who go into debt do so due to vehicular problems, while 11% do so to cover unexpected medical expenses, and 9% do it to cover necessary home repairs. So, while impulsive spending represents a substantial part of Americans' expenses, emergency expenses are significant too.
If the car breaks down or the dishwasher fails, do you have enough cash to cover the expense? According to an Associated Press NORC poll, 2/3 of Americans don't have at least $1,000 stashed away to cover an emergency.
Inflation and the general increase in prices have further complicated people's ability to cover their basic needs without compromising their mental health. An alarming 60% of respondents admitted that financial stress has had a negative impact on their emotional well-being, suggesting a direct relationship between financial stability and quality of life.
A majority of Americans say their financial stress has increased since before the COVID-19 pandemic began. This according to a new CNBC survey conducted in partnership with Momentive.
Lifestyle growth is not just a reflection of erratic financial decisions. It's also a symptom of a culture that values success and status through material possession. In a world where appearing often matters more than being, 57% of people admit to feeling pressured to maintain a lifestyle that often goes beyond their real means, sacrificing savings and investment for instant gratification and appearances.
Now, financial crises, a pandemic, geopolitical tensions, rise in inflation, and a squeeze on the cost of living, they've done very little to dent the rise of the luxury sector in today's time.
Young adults between 21 to 27 years of age are more likely to make poor financial decisions, as about 63% of this group admitted they feel more vulnerable to spending their money on living in the moment, sacrificing long-term financial planning, which translates into an even greater need for financial education and money management tools. However, the problem is not just about individual perceptions and behaviors. More than 6% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and an astonishing 63% claim they could not handle a $1,000 emergency without resorting to credit.
Well, a NerdWallet report out just this morning found that over 1/3 of people think they'll be in credit card debt forever. This as US consumer debt jumped nearly $24 billion in November. That's according to a report by the Fed this week.
This reality highlights the fragility of most people's financial security, where even basic car maintenance becomes an unaffordable luxury for many. With about 26% of workers claiming they could not increase their income by more than $500, earning more money may not be the answer to solving this problem, as it's not always a viable option for everyone. Creating a financial cushion and seeking a balance between enjoying the present and preparing for the future emerge as key strategies. Financial education is fundamental in American society, as about 76% of Americans claim never to have received such education.
30 states require high schools to offer personal finance classes, but only 17 of them require students to take one of those classes in order to graduate.
Conscious planning and value-based spending are essential tools to tackle this problem, allowing people to enjoy their lives by spending money, but without compromising their future well-being. The challenge is in finding the balance between the instant gratification of spending money on whims and securing a solid foundation for the future. A challenge for Americans that requires not only a transformation in how they manage their finances, but also in how they understand and value what truly contributes to their long-term happiness and well-being.